Hey everybody, welcome to the presentation for our fourth and final project in this class. For our fourth and final project, we were tasked with building a fully functioning website, which is essentially just going to be a platform that connected property buyers and property sellers, putting them all under the same roof. We decided to name our website Homelitics. We had to get creative with the name, so that's why we set it on Homelitics. And we're going to get deeper into the website and the design and everything that we did later on. Throughout this presentation, there are a couple of things we're going to break down. The first thing being our team, which is one of the most important things because these are the people who are responsible for this wonderful project being the thing. Second thing is going to be the challenges we face because, as I said, this is the first time we've been tasked with building a fully functioning website like this. So, of course, along the way, we face some challenges. Then we're going to demo and show you the execution of our project. And after that, we're going to do a little breakdown of the code and then conclude it all at the end. Hey, my name is Tyson Lowe. I'm the one who's been talking the entire time. I took on the role as the leader and the tester. As the leader, I was just making sure everybody was engaged. If the professor had any questions, I would make sure to answer them. And if anybody from the team had a question to ask the professor, I would facilitate that conversation as well. And as a tester, I was somebody who made sure that the website was fully functioning. So once our coders and designers were finished, then I would go in, test the website, make sure everything was working, and make sure that there weren't any bugs.
Hello, I'm Ritik. I was one of the coder for the project with Dennis. My role was to make login and registration page and create SQL database to store user information.
Hi, I'm Dennis, a coder that worked alongside Ritik. My role focused on creation of parts of the JavaScript and then assisting with the design team on anything left over.
Hello, my name is Elov. I am one of the designers in this project with Steve. My job was designing while making sure everything ran and was put together.
Hi, I'm Steven, a designer working alongside Elof. My role involves crafting a website to ensure seamless navigation and an aesthetically pleasing user-friendly experience.
As I mentioned earlier, there were some challenges that we faced along the way. The first one being was how to make a user-friendly design for a property site. We had to figure out how to make a platform that when the user logs on and goes to the website, is something that doesn't hurt to look at and it's actually pretty friendly. Second one being is how to implement housing descriptions. Of course, we have property buyers on there, so they need to find a way to sell their house to the sellers. But also, as a seller, you want to get a good description to make sure whatever type of property or house you're buying fits what you want. And then finally, we had to figure out how to connect to the database. This is something that we really haven't had to do throughout any of our other projects. So it was a pretty significant challenge, but we overcame it.
Now I will show you the demo of our website. So as this is a home screen of our website, as you can see, this is the name of our company that's called Homelitics. And here we have every key unlocks a new journey, and we have a couple of property that animates behind that as a background. We got project description. As you can see, the tiles a little bit pops out, so it gives a more dynamic feeling and more engaging feeling. And right here we have login and register page. If you don't have an account, you can just, if you have an account, you can just click on login. But if you don't have an account, you can just register for it, as I will do right now. So I just have my details in. I will just put username here. And I will create a password for the website. Right here, and I will registering as a buyer account. So you can see I have registered for my account, and I will show you a database. So as you can see, we have stored everything in the user table. And if I show you the whole user table, it should show you as you can see, I just registered for this account that says my name, my email, the username, and as you can see, passwords are encrypted, all of the passwords, and it says bar, and it shows you the date and time the account was registered at. And I will just now log in and add my password. As you can see, this is my first time logging in, so it will show me a thank you page. So it says welcome Arbiter. This shows my username, and I can just click here to go to the dashboard, and we have a bunch of properties listed here. We have a wish list right here. Then again, we create the user, and you can search for property by title, location, address, price. So suppose I want a property in Atlanta, so I just type Atlanta and just look up. So all the properties from Atlanta will show up. If I want a property from Alpharetta, so I just type Alpharetta, and the property from Alpharetta will show up. Now, if I want to look up for a house that's, suppose, let's say it's like 1.175 million. So I just type in on, it will just show up. I don't have to type the whole thing. It will just match the first characters and it will show up. Or I want to buy a rental property. So I just type rent and see it shows apartment for rent, the price. Now, if I want to add something to my wish list, I just, as you can see right now, the wish list is empty. It shows your wish list is empty. But if I want to add something to the wish list, I just click add on to wish list. And if it's already exists in the wish list, it will just show me that property already exists in the wish list. But if I want to add something else, I can just add a few properties around here. And I can show you, as you can see, all the properties are added. They are all listed here with the address and the price right here. And if I want to just remove them from wish list, I don't want them anymore, I can just click on remove. Now again, the wish list is empty. And that was all for our demo. Thank you.
So this HTML code represents a web page layout with two distinct sections enclosed in a container. The first section, encapsulated in a div with the class description box, contained a heading, project description, and a paragraph describing the integration knowledge acquired during a semester into development of a website. The second section, also within a div with the class description box, has a heading, what we do, and a paragraph outlining the project goals of creating a platform connecting property buyers and sellers. Although in this slide we display we have two extra sections that talk about what we provide and how we're different from other competitors in the demo. Here we have a login form that includes a welcoming heading, welcome to Homelytics, a set of input fields for username and password, and a sign-in button. Each input field is wrapped in a div with a class form group for styling purposes. The form also provides a link to reset forget a password through the forget your password link. Below the form, there is a message suggesting user to create a new account if they don't have one, with a link leading to a registration page specified by registration.html. The form itself uses the post method to send user input to the login.php script for authentication. Overall, it's a standard HTML structure for a login page with input validation and additional links for password recovery and account creation. Here is a registration form that includes fields for the user first name, last name, email, username, password, and confirmation of the password. There's also a drop-down menu for selecting the account type, which with option for buyer, seller, and admin, which in the demo we chose to do a buyer dashboard as one of the extra milestones. The form uses the post method to send user input to the registration.php script for processing. Additionally, there's an onSubmit attribute in the form tag calling a JavaScript function validate form to perform client-side validation before submitting the form. After the form, there's an empty div with ID error container that's intended to display any validation or submission errors through JavaScript. Here is the HTML for the buyer dashboard. It contains a div for each card, as you can see on the left image. Each property card represented by a property card div includes an image, property detail, and a button for adding to a wish list. We also have JavaScript functions where add to wish list and view property details are triggered on button clicks, enhancing user interactions. You can see the work of the view property detail function on the right image.
This code defines a container with the gray borders, round corners. It also has a background image that transitions between two of the property over a 5-second interval in an infinite loop. Inside the container, there is a center slogan with the specific font, size, boldness, and text shadow for stylish looks. The text is white ivory centered from the top of the container. This code creates a visually appealing element with a dynamic background image and an eye-catching slogan at its center. This code defines a layout for a description container and individual description boxes. The description container contains a user flexible layout, arranging the child elements with space between them. Creating some spacing, each description box has a gray borders with the rounded corners a fixed width. When you hover over the description box, it smoothly moves up by 10 pixels and changes its background color from ivory to white, giving it a subtle interactive effect. Overall, this code creates a neat arrangement for displaying description with a subtle hover effect for added interactivity. This code styles the property card elements. The card occupies 30% of its parent container with a width of 1% margin, ensuring multiple cards can fit on a single row. The box size and property ensures the card borders and padding are included in its specific width. The card is floated to the left, allowing other content to flow around it. It has gray borders, padding, and center text layout on a white background. Overall, this code creates a basic grid-like layout for property cards suitable for displaying multiple cards side by side. This code styles a login container element. The container had a semi-transparent white background, creating a frosted glass effect. Is centered horizontally on the page with equal margins on the left and the right. It has padding inside, a fixed width of rounded corners for a visibly pleasing appearance. Additionally, it has subtle shadow to give it a slight lift from the page. It's positioned from the top of the page. In summary, this code creates an attractive and centered login container with modern and slightly elevated design.
Okay. Here we have created a search function to search for property. At first, we will get the user input from search bar by using get element by ID. Then we have used for each loop to match user query with every single property card. Then we have used Boolean statement to show valid results to the user. Our search bar will match the user query for title, location, price, and number of bedrooms. If the search does not match any of the elements, the property card will show nothing. Now we have created a function called view property details that will open a modal display window when user clicks on any of the property card. We have assigned each of the property with an ID, and we have used Boolean to show extra details like title, location, price, bathrooms, bedrooms, description of the property when clicked by user. And we have created a scroll bar in the model display for property details. So we have created a scroll property images function to horizontally scroll through property images. If there are more images than the size of the model display, first we use the property image that sizes the image equally to display the model window. Then we get the width of each image, and after that we add them all up to combine to get the combined width of all images. Then we initialize the scroll position to 0, and we use if else if statement to determine the user input and to scroll the button accordingly. Now, if the scroll position is at 0, then the previous button will not work, since we already are at the start of the image list. In the same way, if the scroll position is at the total width of combined images, then it won't work, since we are at the end of the images. And anything other than that, the scroll button or the next button will scroll over by one image. Then we have the close model window function that will just close the model window when you click anywhere on the display. Then we have the function of adding a property to wish list. So first we initialize property details wish list, and if property exists. Then if we check if property does not exist, then we will just push the property to the wish list, and it will show user a message that shows property added to wish list. And if property already exists, then it will just show user that property already exists in the wish list. Then we have added event listener to display wish list. Then we have remove from wish list. So if the user clicks remove from wish list button, then it will get the wish list from the local storage, and it will remove the item from the wish list. Then we have display wish list function. So first we initialize wish list items to local storage, then sorry. Then we get the wishlist container from wishlist items ID. And if wishlist is 0, there is no elements in the wishlist, then the wishlist will show empty. And anything other than that, so there are items in the wishlist, so that will show the user all the details. So first it will show the title in big fonts, then below that it will show location, price, and remove from wishlist button for the user. And if remove from wishlist button is clicked, then it will redirect you to the remove from wishlist function that will remove the item from the wishlist.
All right, so with this code, it ensures that a user is logged in before allowing access to the rest of the page. If not logged in, it redirects the user to the login page, and then it also retrieves the username from the session, providing a way to identify the current user during their session on the website. So this section establishes a connection to the database. The next block checks if the form has been submitted using HTTP post, and then it retrieves the submitted user and password post data. So this code checks if a form with a username and password has been submitted. It then verifies the submitted credentials against those that are stored in the MySQL database. And if successful, it sets a session variable and redirects you to the thank you page. Otherwise, it displays an error message. And then once you get to the thank you page, it'll display the username that they used to sign up.
Thank you for listening to our presentation for our fourth and final project. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you enjoy getting the deep insight into what went into making this project and the final result. That's all we have for now. And once again, thank you for tuning in.